So what are the key things that when you look at someone's plate and you're like, okay, that's a good chicken parm?
Oh, okay. So the cheese is melted all over the chicken, but there's not too much of it. It's not like somebody threw a block of cheese in the middle of it and it just exploded. I don't like that. I don't like the edges of the chicken burnt, but it's got to be cooked. And I don't want too much pasta. Otherwise, you walk out of there with a 1,500 calorie gut bomb and you just feel terrible. Because if it's on the plate, I will eat it. Like, I am not a leftovers person. My kids and my wife, they call me the goat at home. Not greatest of anything. Just if it's on the plate, if it's somebody's leaves leftovers, I just walk by and I eat it. I can't help it. I don't even know what it is. I don't even want it.
Hey guys, welcome on into Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks. Now, this NHL season so far, there has been no shortage of storylines. It's been very Melrose Place-esque. That was for you, Mom. Love that show. But really, there's been so much going on so far, and we're only halfway through the season. And so today's guest is going to help me break all of the drama down and more. Someone I've wanted to have on this show for so long, but he works a million jobs around a million cities in a million different countries. And that is none other than former NHL player and current broadcaster for TSN and ESPN, Ray Ferraro, also known as Chicken Parm. Thank you so much for coming on the show here today. And I want to toast to you. Congratulations on a new start to the season and with ESPN.
Thank you, Julie. I'm glad to be here. It's been an interesting start, hasn't it?
It's been very busy. I heard you and Darren Dreger on your podcast the other day saying that, you wake up and it's like a new coach has been fired, someone's been suspended, like there's just so much going on. How would you, I guess, characterize just the first couple months of the season?
Well, I'd start by saying it's really cool to have somewhere to go again. You know, like, most of us have been just boxed in our homes, and some you have a good space, and some you got less space. And my wife Cammi and I have two kids that are 14 and 11, and then our grandkids live literally next door. So like our house is a circus, and so to be able to go somewhere and to go to work and to see people again, that's made things awesome. It's really fun to see people I've known for a long time and people I haven't seen in a long time. There's been some not so great stuff with the NHL this year too. And I'm really hopeful. I really am hopeful that what has had to happen is the impetus for change and growth. I really think it's there. And I really think there's no going back. For all the crappy stuff that social media is, the fact that there is now, is now means that stuff can't be swept away anymore. And I believe that's where the growth will spark from. The hockey has been amazing. Like, I know, like, we're airing on Saturday, on Tuesday night, like Trevor Zegras makes this play that everybody fiddles around with in practice, right? Like, but nobody does it in a game. Except these kids are so skilled and they're so bold. I've been around the NHL since 1985, and I'm telling you, it's more fun to watch these kids now than it's been in a long time. The last time there was this much fun watching games was when Gretzky was playing. Like when they would score 7 goals a game, and you go, oh man, look what Paul Coffey did. And, oh, did you see what Gretzky did again? Like, there was always that. Now it's different guys all the time, and their ability is just, whether it's McDavid or Matthews, and now Zegras is a magician. And, what Ovi's doing at his age is like just player after player after player, and I'm loving it.
Why do you think that is? Like, what's maybe changed with the way players are playing the game now that makes it more interesting?
I think it goes way back to when they're kids, and the U.S. has been a leader in this, is that they changed their development model probably 25 years ago. And it was less about games and more about skill development. And so these kids would get on the ice, and all they do is they practice and they work on their skills. And then when they play, it's less about, make the right play, and we're going to work on our systems. And like, you can teach a monkey a system. Eventually they're going to learn it, but you can't teach the skill unless you teach it young. And so my brother-in-law, Don Granato, has worked at the U.S. development program for a number of years. And he coached Austin Matthews and Jack Eichel and all those guys when they were in the program. He's now the head coach in Buffalo. And he kept talking about the skill of these kids. And I'm watching this video of Austin Matthews at 14 years old that Don had. And I'm like, I can't believe he's 14. Like, look what he's doing. And so the skill development means that they have more skill than us guys ever had. It's not even close. But they also have this built-in confidence that they can do it. Like, they can do it. And they're also having fun doing it. Like, I'll give you an analogy a little bit. Like, so I've never been a Blue Jays fan. I'm a baseball fan, never been a Blue Jays fan. I was a Montreal Expos fan. Loved the Expos. Blue Jays came in. I'm like, I don't like these guys. So a few years ago, they have this wild game in the playoffs, and Jose Bautista bat flips after hitting a dramatic home run. Well, I'm watching it, and I'm like, I don't like that. You know, you're supposed to drop your bat and run. And then the more I watched it, I'm like, that was awesome. So when Toronto is upset that Logan Stanley does the Johnny Bravo victory thing after his fight with Wayne Simmons, and all the old purists are upset, like, who cares? It's fun. And fun is good. Fun means people want to watch. That's what I like about the game. And so I was an old curmudgeon, maybe, looking at the game like, this is how we did it. This is how we played. This is what we did. It's not like that anymore. This way is better. It's more fun. I love it.
It is. And you're right. There was sort of like that old guard of, no, you don't celebrate like this. You don't do things like that. And the confidence is certainly something that stood out with Zegras' pass to Milano, which was just absolutely insane. We'll be talking about that one for years and years to come. But for you, something that's been fun, you could say, is your return to ESPN and Buccigross just really leaning into the chicken parm theme, putting out photos of chicken parm and tweeting everyone's pictures of it. You know, for you, what's it like coming back and rejoining Buccigross and Melrose and kind of the second chapter of ESPN for you?
Well, it's been amazing to be involved. I didn't know that I was going to be able to work it with my gig at TSN. When they started talking about that ESPN was going to be back in the game, I was like, man, maybe I could work something out. Maybe I could be able to go back there and work. And so my agent reached out, and, a few interviews later, and, so I agreed to a deal. And, when I started at ESPN, Julie, like, it wasn't a job. Like, I was still playing, right? So there was a guy, Barry Sachs, who was in charge of talent at ESPN for ESPN2, which is where NHL Tonight was. And he's a big Ranger fan, Barry. It still is, man, diehard. So when I got traded from the Rangers to LA, the Kings, of course, were out of the playoffs. Gretzky was traded. It was like getting to a New Year's Eve party, like at 12:30. Like, all the good stuff had already gone. And it was like, there we are. It's LA, but it's not, Gretz isn't here. And so I got a call, or my agent got a call and said, would Ray be interested in doing TV for 2 weeks on NHL Tonight? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I never done it, but said, I've seen him do a lot of interviews. I think he could do this. So I went there, and I land at like 3:30 in the afternoon. We're on the air at 11 at night. Now, the games go on. We watch the games, and then we do our analysis. I'm so nervous. We're in a studio that is not much bigger than a living room, and it's got a bank of cameras in between two sets, one for the NFL Tonight and NHL. I mean, there's only one camera I can be looking at, right? Like, it's, as I look at it now, like, how hard could it be? I mean, you just look, the camera's 4 feet away. It's got a big red light on it. And I was so nervous. So I get through the show, and I was wearing a blue shirt, and I go back to my hotel. I take my jacket off, and I've got sweat stains from my elbow to my ribs. I am soaked. I was so scared. And I guess it turned out well. I did the 2 weeks. The next year, fortunately for my broadcasting career, the Kings were no good again. And we missed the playoffs. So I went back for a month. And so to come back again, like, I just didn't even think it was possible. And, Butchie loves the the chicken parm. I can't believe he's eating it on the air, rating it on the show. If somebody sends a bad batch in there, he's not shy to say that this is American
Oh
League
yeah.
chicken parm, right? So you got to be pretty confident if you're sending it in. But all the people like Linda Cohn and Barry Melrose and Butch that are back, Steve Levy, but also people behind the scenes that I literally have not seen in 20 years, and they've moved through the ESPN chain, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys are still here. Like, how, it's been really cool to get started, and we're just getting going, right? We're just getting started.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's great to see it back because so many people have great memories from back in the day, as you mentioned, and all of those broadcasters have really kept flying the flag high in hockey and kept it alive at the worldwide leader in sports. But I got to ask you, like, how much chicken parm do you eat?
I'll eat it a few times a month. Okay. 3-4 times.
Do you feel like responsibility to eat it if it's on the menu?
No, I just like it. I search it out. And the key to ordering chicken parm, though, is you look around at the other people that have ordered in front of you. And if you see somebody eating it, I make an evaluation on my order based on how theirs looks. And so I have not ordered because I'm not digging that. I'm not digging the way it looks. But it's really hard to screw up chicken parm. It's cheese, it's chicken, it's breadcrumbs. Mm-hmm. I love it.
So what are the key things that when you look at someone's plate and you're like, okay, that's a good chicken parm?
Oh, okay. So the cheese is melted all over the chicken, but there's not too much of it. It's not like somebody threw a block of cheese in the middle of it and it just exploded. I don't like that. I don't like the edges of the chicken burnt, but it's got to be cooked. And I don't want too much pasta. Otherwise, you walk out of there with a 1,500 calorie gut bomb and you just feel terrible. Because if it's on the plate, I will eat it. Like, I am not a leftovers person. My kids and my wife, they call me the goat at home. Not greatest of anything. Just if it's on the plate, if it's somebody's leaves leftovers, I just walk by and I eat it. I can't help it. I don't even know what it is. I don't even want it. I just eat it.
Yeah, just like a dog, like eating another dog's meal. Yeah. Well, hey, those are some good tips. We'll keep those in mind for chicken parm going forward. Because I mean, you are.
Are you a chicken parm person?
I love chicken parm. Yeah, but you're right. If I'm eating it, I'm like, I will feel pretty bad afterwards usually because it's a lot.
But you got to eat it. You're not going to eat half of it.
You're going to eat the whole thing. No, you're not saving the pasta and bringing it home. You're going to take it all right now. Okay, so let's get to you mentioned your family. And of course you have illustrious hockey lines throughout the whole family, and Cammi Granato, first female in the Hockey Hall of Fame, scout for the Seattle Kraken, U.S. Olympian. What's something that being around her and seeing the game through her eyes, how has it maybe influenced you or helped you look at the game differently?
Pretty interesting. So long before she was scouting, we're watching hockey. That's what we do. There's a lot of nights just hanging out, watching the game, debating it. She likes players. I don't like players. We like something somebody does. We don't always align. That's for sure. She has always leaned into the skill guys way more than I did. I was trying to look more at just, I guess, a more complete player, and her view has helped me understand. No, I was an offensive player. I was not, and she was too. Neither of us were going to be confused for checkers. That wasn't going to happen. So she helped me realize I don't need, like you hear this all the time, a 200-foot player. I don't need a team of 200-foot players. First of all, there's almost none that are. Everybody has a strength somewhere. Like, people call a player a 200-foot player. That means he's good in his end. Chances are he's no good in the offensive end. So what I learned, one of the things I learned from Cammi is that why not get some really skilled people and surround them with people to do the shovel work? And so my view has changed mainly because of the way that she, we discussed it. So I'll give you the examples. The best example is this. Cammi's from Chicago. For some reason, we were in Chicago for the development camp the year that Jonathan Toews came out of college and Patrick Kane got drafted. So they're at camp. I mean, they look totally different. Toews is this much more mature physically player, and Kane's this, little skinny kid. And it was obvious to see both of them were better than everybody else there. But I said, man, Toews is ready to play and Kane is not. And when Kane won the Rookie of the Year that year, however many years ago that was, you think I've ever not heard the end of that? I was wrong. She was right.
You were pretty wrong on that one, Ray.
And it's not the last time. I was way wrong on that.
But that's great that you guys can sort of like collaborate your different thoughts and opinions on players or the game and really just, kind of make yourselves better because you're getting different opinions.
When they were doing the Kraken roster, right, and she was scouting over the past year, I'd walk into her little office space and I'd walk in and she'd just turn the computer like away from me, like I couldn't see it.
She's like, here, what do you think? Yeah.
Never. Other way. No, when they drafted those players, that was the first time I had any clue who they were. And so she said, you can't have this information because you'll want to do something with it. So it was the weirdest thing. Like the Kraken roster, they were doing their mock drafts. I mean, it was on the other side of the door. And I'd come, she'd either close the computer or turn it away. So I had no idea what was going on.
How do you deal with that? Because you're like, oh, but what if like you walk by and you just saw a name and you're like, I can't unsee that, or I hear that. And you are a broadcaster, like you want to know. First
of all, her notes wouldn't be organized enough that I would be able to understand it.
She's done that on purpose, yeah.
Everybody's got their own system, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Damn, I can't decipher that one. There's no chance.
You tried.
Well, she'll leave a note. Okay, when you leave a note at home, is it like in order, or is it just a bunch of notes on a piece of paper all over the place?
I mean, I got my whole interview's just on this, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah, but look, it's all in order.
This is my Ray Ferraro interview.
We have like sticky notes all over the place with 8 different notes going in different directions on the note.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a little chaotic.
Drives me crazy. However, it seems to work for her. She's in the Hall of Fame. I'm not.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so you guys at home, USA, Canada.
Yeah.
I know you're usually working these big games, but even when it's soccer or it's anything, what's it like in the household between like this North American vibe that you guys have going on?
Well, the kids are Canadian, and so they cheer for Canada. And so there was, the one Olympics, I guess it would have been, gosh, could it already
2010?
have been? No, the 24. Could it already have been that long ago? When
2014?
The U.S. 2014, when the U.S. hit the goalpost, the women's game hit the goalpost, and Canada came down and ended up winning
Canada
the game.
Came back in that game? Yeah.
Yes. And so our boys were like, they were little at the time, and they were really boisterous. And so Cammi took the point of being a good winner and a good loser. So there was a lesson there, but they were clearly cheering for Canada. I'm Canadian.
Is that tough?
I want Canada to win. Of course I do. And she wants the U.S. to win. And, and a lot of the girls that are playing in particular, Cam has been a mentor and, a person they look up to. And so she has connections to them. So of course she cheers for them. And I think she pointed out, like, you cheer for where you're from, of course. But what she loved about the latest tours that the women, in particular hockey players, are going on, is that the kids, the girls, the young boys, they just look at them as a great player. In Canada, it used to be they just looked at the Canadian players. And in the U.S., they just looked at the U.S. players. But it doesn't matter. It's just a great player. Like I would know Trevor Zegras is a player from the United States. I would know that, but I just think, hey, Zegras is a great player. I know Austin Matthews is from the U.S. I know Connor McDavid's from Canada. They're just great players. And that's the way the women's game, as it continues to grow, is going. And that's only good for the game.
Agreed. Yeah, especially when it's just in the spotlight and people are enjoying the game, enjoying the players versus being countries. But I'm glad you're Team Canada over here. My boyfriend's American, so boo.
Well, yeah.
But
So when they win, you have boo to him, and right? Yeah, it's the way it goes.
I'm a super sore loser. Canada lost World Juniors last year. I was like, I want to recount.
Well, we're on the way to that soon, Julie. We're on the way to that again.
I know. We're gonna get to that in 1 second, but it's gonna happen after. But on the Olympic note, we know that it's like kind of precarious going forward, just with COVID and so much going on. Robin Lehner's statement this week, tweeting that he's not going based on his own concerns and whatnot. What do you think about, what's the pulse of players and coaches around the league about what he said?
Oh, I don't think anybody has a problem with it. I think like a lot of things that have happened over the past, I don't know, is it a year or 2 years with Robin? He says things that are on other people's minds. And he had to go through 50 miles of muddy road to get to the place in his life where he's at, which is, when you look at it, you're like, how could you not be happy for him to have to go through what he went through to get to a place where he's like, this is what I think. Like, I think we'd all like to be like that. And there are lots of things we just, you kind of tuck away because you're not sure, should I say it? Should I not? And he just says, nope, this is it. So he says he's not going to the Olympics because of the concerns he has. Now, if I were one of those players, I would be really concerned about going over there and ending up with COVID somehow. And then what do? You got to quarantine in China for 2 weeks? No, thank you. So just think, they come back. Think of this scenario. Last week of the tournament, Austin Matthews tests positive. Connor McDavid tests positive for COVID. They've got to stay behind for 2 weeks in China. The NHL season is starting. So now they miss 2 weeks of the NHL season. Then they come back. Look, you were over at the Olympics this past year. How long did your jet lag take? Weeks, right?
I'm still doing with
before
it.
you feel
That's
like
more PTSD, but yeah.
Yeah. But you're like, man, just to get back into shape. So they're going to lose. Somebody that tests positive is going to lose 2 to 3 weeks of play to come back. Those, who wants to do that? I get they want to go. My gut is a lot of people are starting to wonder if it's possible, if it makes sense. And so I used to think it was like, man, they're going anyway. And then I got to kind of 80-20, and I'm closer to 50-50 right now than I've ever been.
And what do you think about the rest of the league and players? Do you think that they're feeling at all like you are?
The guys that aren't going, they're all in favor of it because that's 3 weeks holiday.
Agreed, yeah.
What I hear all the time, the players are overwhelmingly in favor of going to the Olympics. Yeah, 500 of them don't even have to worry about it. They get to go to a beach. So of course they're in favor of it. I would be. Yeah,
you're right. Only a small number of them are actually going. Yeah.
I'll get 2 votes in. So I think the players want to go, Julie, but my sense is more of them, the ones that are directly involved, are starting to get just a little bit nervous about, okay, so if we go, what exactly can we do? The answer is nothing. They're going to go there and sit in a hotel. And if people, I don't think people know until you experience it what a bubble is like to live in. I did it in Edmonton for 3 weeks last year. And I know we all talk about mental health way more than we ever did in the past. It's not good. 3 weeks, I was like, I got to get out of this room. We weren't allowed. You would go down the hallway into the elevator, take your temperature in the lobby, allowed to walk outside from the front door of the hotel into the bus or the car that was waiting, go to the rink, walk into the rink, do your COVID test, and go to the game. That was it. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It sucked. And it's bad for you because all you're left with is your brain to play tricks on you. Mm-hmm. And I found it really hard. And I will say it took me time mentally to get past that.
Right.
Like I just, when I got back in the airport the next day, I was like, oh my God, there's people around here. I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was hard. It was really hard.
I mean, because you're dealing with that, and then you're also thinking about, I don't want to test positive. What happens if I do? Right? On top of the competition.
Did you also feel if you test positive, oh my God, what have I done? Not just with me, but to everybody else I've been around here. Because
you realize, oh, what other countries have I been around? And then what other
like you don't even know. You can't, you start, there were a couple times I'm like, I'm not feeling great. And, I must have COVID, of course, is where you go to, or at least I do.
Yeah.
I go from 0 to 100 in like that. And so I start thinking, okay, who was I around? Like, who would I have to tell? And it started like, I could feel the stress building in me. The one thing I will say, so that was a year ago, by about the 8th day, when the only people you're around have been testing every day, it was the first time I didn't think about COVID. I'm like, I could be licking a handrail. There's nobody that has been out of this bubble.
Yeah, that's good at least.
That was the only positive part of it.
Like having that peace of mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I turned down the Olympics this year. It was hard to do, but I'm not going to go do it. And I'll tell you, 100%, it was because of last year. And I'm like, I just did this for 3 weeks. I can't do it again. It's not good for me to do again. And I'm going to hate not doing it. In particular, if the NHL guys go, I'm going to hate it. I'm going to feel like I missed out. But I couldn't do it.
It's so much to put yourself through. Excuse me. I also turned it down as well, for different reasons, but also the same of having to do. It's a lot to put yourself through while you're also trying to do your job, and you're dealing with a global pandemic that isn't eradicated yet, and there's also so many other reasons in China that are problematic for competition at this point.
Well, I was going to say now, if it were Julie, I might have thought different if it was in, almost any place else. I might have thought differently, but I'm just staying behind in China for 2 weeks just really didn't do it for me.
What?
And so you have to think
what could possibly go wrong?
Right. You have to think of the worst case scenario. Like you have to. And then I'm like, yeah, okay. So they come back, the league starts, my job starts, and I'm in quarantine in China. Oh, I'm sure my employers are going to be thrilled with that.
Right.
So
you never know what kind of health you're in at that point too, and you're at the hospitals and you're dealing with all this stuff. For me, it's a lot.
Like I said, it was hard, but once I let it go, I haven't even once I said, okay, I'm not going to do it. I haven't really thought about it again. I'm like, I know I made the right decision for me.
Agreed. And I agree. At the time, you're going to feel FOMO, but now you recognize it. But I also know people going, and I know that our editor's going to have to cut out a ton of this stuff, but I know people going who are do not want to go, that are just like, oh God, I'm really, really don't want to go now. I mean, how could you not feel that way? So we'll have to see what happens. But thank you so much for the insight.
Yeah, but I hope the players go. I want to see them play. I'd love to see them play in the Olympics. It would be great, but I want them to go and be okay going. And if they go, my first thought will be as they leave, damn, I hope these guys all get back okay. Like, I hope it all goes smooth. That's what I would think as they're going. That's the way my brain works.
Yeah. What a world that we live in right now with this, especially in 2022 coming up. Okay, well, we have had an awesome time drinking and binking here with Ray Ferraro.
What do you got in that mug, by the way?
I mean, what do I not have in this mug?
Over the course of your show, what have you had in that mug?
Literally every different drink in the world. But I'm trying to, it's holiday season. So we're shooting this at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. I'm trying to ease myself into it. There could be any number of things in this. But also then I don't want to be ruined for the rest of the day because I had Bailey's
Sure.
and whatever in the morning, and then can't like work.
Now, are you a holiday person?
No, I'm not a holiday person at all.
No, but I mean, is your whole place like that?
Yeah. I am elf. My boyfriend woke up one day and it was like I had just everything done. I had 40 minutes of sleep and I just finished the whole place. So it feels good, if we're not going to do anything else.
I came home from my last trip and there were boxes all over the living area. And I'm like, what? It was November. And I'm like, what is going on? And Cammi's like, yeah, it's time to get it going. And so we've got stuff hanging but we just got a new puppy. Well, he's 8 months old.
Oh,
and so
what kind?
Ollie, he's called a Cavapoo, Cavalier Spaniel Poodle. He's about 20 pounds. And my daughter-in-law sent me a video of him the other day. He was on the counter eating the food. We haven't quite got the training down yet on him. So I'm not sure how these ornaments are going to make it.
Well, he's taking after you, of course, with,
there's nothing
eating the
left.
chicken parm, so.
Yeah, once Ollie gets through, there is nothing left, I'll tell you.
Awesome. Okay, well, Ray, where can we find you next? I know we couldn't get into World Junior talk right now, but we will have to at some point. But you got a lot on the docket. Where can people find you?
Okay, next couple of weeks, really, just in Canada. I have games on the 14th and 16th in Calgary and Edmonton. The Leafs are through there. And then I lock down on the World Juniors. I got to start learning 200 teenagers for the World Junior tournament. And we start on Boxing Day. So I'll have Christmas at home. Boxing Day start in Edmonton. The tournament ends on January the 5th at 8 o'clock. I'm on an 11 o'clock flight. I'll be in for ESPN Pittsburgh and Philly the next night, January 6th. Yay. And then I'm back into. So I am going to, if you see a disheveled, mismatched human on the 6th, I don't want any comments. That's just, it could happen. If you follow Gord Miller's Twitter, I like to think I'm organized. However, there are some travel follies that seem to follow me.
Hey, I mean, you have to be organized to even just remember that schedule. So kudos to you.
Well, yeah, but I do get some help because last Sunday, I didn't know until 5 days before I had the game in Winnipeg. Because in a casual conversation, I said to Gord, yeah, I don't like those Jets third jerseys. They can't see the numbers. I said, but it doesn't bug me. We don't have any games. He's like, yeah, we're there Sunday. Ugh. I thought I was an extra day in Arizona. I was going to play golf. And so I got to call ESPN Travel and TSN Travel and all these poor travel people. They must be going like, you're an idiot. But I made it.
Yeah, well, with that schedule, it's too bad. Golf in Arizona, Winnipeg Jets game. I don't know which one prevails. But, can't wait to see you and Gord and World Juniors best time of the year, Red Deer, Alberta. Love watching it, Boxing Day. And this is a super Canadian conversation, although I know there's some Americans out there that are dialed in as well. Thank you so much, Ray, for joining us here on the show. I know you're super busy. Love the insight. Love chatting with you. Good luck with the rest of the season. And guys out there, you can follow him at Ray Ferraro TSN on Twitter. And for us, make sure you follow us at Fubo Sports on all of our social channels, as well as our YouTube channel at Fubo Sports for all of our other interviews and more. And until next time, bottoms up, bitches.